Hi guys, and welcome to another kit review. Alright, so today we're having a look at something a little bit different. As you can see, it is an aircraft engine. It is in actual fact a Mercedes DIII. This is a World War I aircraft engine. This model is built by Roden. It is in 1/32 scale, and the kit number is 623. Now this particular engine was developed for, as I said, World War I German fighters. The original engine in 1914 had about 160 horsepower. By the end of the war in 1918, they'd upgraded it to 180 horsepower. And this engine was used in almost every German fighter that you can think of, from Pfalz, Halberstads, Albatrosses, Fokker D7s. So it was quite a well-used engine throughout World War I, and fairly well developed by the Germans. Okay, so let's have a look at the box. So as you can see, you get the engine. You do get PE parts for the engine, as well as a display stand which has a PE nameplate and a propeller. Okay, so that's fairly good. It is quite a smallish kit, being only 1/32 scale, but it will present as a really nice display model for your shelf. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of the box. On the sides, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different languages, or basically a simple, straightforward history of the engine, what aircraft it was used in, etc. Same as on the front here, you'll see there is a brief history with a list of aircraft and also its development and horsepower from 1914 to 18. Okay, so on the back, as you can see, these are the 5 other aircraft engines that Roden puts out in 1/32 scale. I have done a review of this Spinosusa 8AB, which is, as I said in the review, a later development engine of the 8A, and the Wolseley Viper is a license-built Spinosusa with some slight modifications. So these 3 engines are basically the same one. That's the one I've done the review on. This is the current one we're doing right now. These 2 here, the Gnome Monosuper and the Oberursel UR2, I haven't seen yet, but if they do come up cheap on an auction site, I might pick one up. This particular model kit cost me around $20 Australian. Fairly straightforward and cheap. This is your colour callouts for the aircraft. Fairly straightforward and simple. Mostly metallics. As you can see, burnt iron, burnt metal, copper, okay, aluminium and steel, brass. This is natural wood, which would be the propeller. Medium green and black. Fairly straightforward colours, and I will give you a shot of this anyway so you can have a closer look at it. Okay, so that's the box. Let's open her up and see what I actually got. Still sealed, so let's cut her open. Okay, open her up. Out she comes. So, 1 bag screws, that's your photo etch, okay, your instructions, 2 sprues, that is your display stand. This is the engine, so you don't really get a huge engine to work with, and this is the display base. Okay, so in a second, I'll open this up and we'll have a closer look. Okay, so what you have here is a history of the actual engine, the aircraft it was used in, its specifications. This is your, down the bottom here is your performance specification. It is a 6-cylinder inline water-cooled aircraft engine. So Ukrainian, English, and on this side, they've made a slight mistake. They've made a repeat of the English. This should have been the German side. The specifications down the bottom are German, but this is all English. It happens sometimes. It happens. Anyway, that's the front. Open her up. Usual warnings. cut this, be careful with that. This is your sprue layout. One small screw for the engine, base, propeller. This is your display stand, and as you can see, there are parts on the display stand which don't get used in this particular engine. These ones here are for the Hispano Suiza, so they can go into your spares box. You might be able to use them somewhere else along the line. Repeat of the color callouts. This is your photo etch, okay, and the photo etch has bolts and plates. This is your nameplate, and also these appear to be, I think, part of the tappet assembly. So this particular small engine has a lot of photo etch parts on it, okay, so it is quite small on the plastic and high on the photo etch because it does have individual bolts. Okay, so as you can see, two engine halves to go together. This is your propeller shaft, propeller, okay, so basic exhaust intake manifolds going on. Alright, so already on here you've got some very fine parts. Then we get to the PE. As you can see, there is a row of small bolts on the bottom here. These are your electrical leads for the engine, and on the other side, more PE for your tappets, some plates, and other pieces. Looked like a nameplate and other fittings. So there's a lot of PE on this little engine, so it should come up really nicely. Nice detail. And then you've got your display stand, engine goes on top, and she's done. So fairly simple, straightforward, not much to it as far as construction. The only thing that's going to slow you down is probably the PE. Okay, so speaking of which, let's have a look at the PE. And there we go. Sorry, that was a bit shiny. So as you can see, it's for Roden. It was made in the Czech Republic. I wouldn't be surprised if it was made by someone famous like Edward or someone like that. So there is really nice detail. So let's see. These here are your little bolt details for the side of the engine. These are your electricals for the spark plugs. A few plates. That is a specification plate, I believe, on the side of the engine. And these are your tappet rockers, I think. Without actually having seen a real engine, I couldn't tell you, but that's really nice detail that's going on this. So like I said, a fair bit of PE, very intricate, very fine. So a lot of care will be needed putting that one on. Okay, so that's the PE. This is the propeller, of course, with some really nice bolt detail in the end. Fairly straightforward. There is no wood grain on that. A little bit of mold line to clean up, but not too bad. This is your display stand. Fairly straightforward. You don't use these, you don't use the circles, you just use the main frame sections and the nameplate. Okay, that goes with this basic base. This is your engine. Okay, fairly straightforward, easy construction. If you wanted to leave out all the detail, leave the PE off, this will take you about 30 seconds to build this thing. Well, not quite, but you know what I mean. Okay, let's turn around the right way. Cylinder heads, as I said, she is a 6-cylinder inline water-cooled. Okay. Alright, so you've got your intake and exhaust manifolds and a couple of other fittings, but that's pretty straightforward. That is your propeller shaft, by the way. So that one just needs to go in without being glued. And that's it, guys. Fairly straightforward, not much to it. The hard part will be the PE. Okay, and that actually brings us to the end of this review. Fairly short, sharp. Okay, this will be, as I said, a really nice little display engine. If you're into World War I aircraft, if you're into 32nd scale, or you just want something different on your shelf, if you can pick one of these up fairly cheap, like I did, no reason why not. In fact, if you're a bit iffy about PE on your really top-notch models, one of these would be good practice for the amount of PE that's got a fairly simple structure to put all the PE onto. So yeah, and there's really no reason why you couldn't almost mount it on the stand and use that to hold it while you put the PE on. Anyway, guys, like I said, that brings us to the end of this review. I hope you got something from it. I know I did. I am actually looking forward to building this little beastie. So, we'll see how we go. Anyway, as usual, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, take it easy, and I'll see you later.